In the previous tutorial, we showed you how to use the 4 novelty moves to organize your presentation into a compelling story, one that will make your audience excited to learn more about your project. This tutorial will show you how to use strategies like metaphors and transitions to help your audience follow and remember your story. Metaphors are comparisons that let people connect what they don't know to what they do know. They distill complex information down into its essence, giving your audience confidence in their own understanding. This confidence is crucial to engaging your audience. Research shows that people are more likely to pay attention and absorb information if they can relate to it. Here are 2 examples of metaphors that break down technical concepts into accessible pieces. 1. An atom is like the solar system. The electrons revolve around the nucleus the way the planets revolve around the sun. 2. The human eye works like a film camera. It bends light through a lens and projects an image onto the retina at the back of the eye, very much like a camera imprints an image onto film. What makes these metaphors effective? First, the references are easy for a general audience to understand. Keep your metaphors accessible. The judges in the 3MT competition will likely be well-educated, but even well-educated people become frustrated when confronted with topics outside their expertise. The goal is to make a non-specialist audience understand your project and your field. Just remember not to oversimplify. You don't want your audience to misunderstand you. Second, stick to fewer metaphors if possible. It's better to use one overarching comparison throughout your presentation, rather than many small ones, so the audience doesn't lose track of them. This is important if you're trying to break down a process or idea into many parts. In this case, each part of your metaphor should have a corresponding part in its comparison. Third, know when to use literal versus conceptual metaphors. The examples of an atom being like a solar system and an eye being like a camera are literal metaphors. They're convenient because they provide concrete images that can be broken down piece by piece into their counterparts. However, these examples might be too limiting if your concept is a little more complex. In that case, you can use more subtle metaphors such as genes acting selfish or bacteria and viruses being at war. These examples are more conceptual than literal, and therefore they are more difficult to break down, but they still encapsulate these ideas into an easy-to-digest framework. Fourth, test your metaphor out on different types of people. How you interpret a comparison may be completely different from how your mother would, or your classmate from another field. Another strategy you should use is strong transitions. Transitions are word cues that let the audience know when you are switching to a new phase of your presentation. Some common transitions include however, but, at this time, current research, therefore, and consequently. They serve as signposts within the presentation to let the audience know what type of information is coming next. Now remember, you've already learned about the 4 novelty moves which help you engage your audience. They are establish significance, describe the status quo, identify a gap, and fill the gap. It's a good idea to position your transitions around the start and end of these moves. For example, when you are moving from explaining the significance of your topic to the status quo in the field, you would use time words like at this time or current research suggests, so that we know the status quo is whatever comes after that. When you move from the status quo to the gap, you may use words like however or but to show that the status quo does not cover everything. And when you move from identifying the gap to filling it, you may use phrases that indicate what you're currently doing, such as my approach is or our solution is. Using transitions will help your audience keep track of what you've already covered and what's coming next in your talk. Together with metaphors, transitions will help you hook your audience and keep them interested all the way until the end of your presentation. Now let's see how previous 3-minute thesis winners have used these strategies, along with the 4 novelty moves, in their presentations. Click on the next video to see the first example.